set to hold a security cabinet meeting today, where he'll direct Israel's military on how to proceed with the war effort in Gaza. The news comes as discussions surrounding a ceasefire and hostage release deal appear to be breaking down once again. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff told hostage families in Tel Aviv on Saturday that President Trump is pushing for a comprehensive deal to bring the remaining hostages home and that there will be no more piecemeal deals. Officials from the Prime Minister's office said last night that Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu will push to occupy the whole of the Gaza Strip, including areas where hostages may be held. Meanwhile, in Russia says it will no longer adhere to an international treaty that technically prohibits the deployment of some intermediate-range missiles. The United States has accused Moscow of violating the treaty multiple times over the past decade. Russia is known to have launched missiles beyond the stated range of that agreement in its war on Ukraine. The U.S. pulled out of the treaty in 2019, citing Russia's continued violations dating back to 2014 and the need to counter China's buildup of arms in the Pacific. Russia said its withdrawal yesterday was in response to the U.S. installing missile systems in Europe and the Philippines. Joining.
First and foremost, I'd like to give all thanks, glory, honor, and praise to the Supreme Power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone. Peace and salutation to the hopeful elect. Shalom to the few sisters watching and learning. Stay strong and remain humble. This is the brother Kazawan from the GMS Bahamas Nassau camp, back at you through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, with another lesson, Lord's willing, the lesson be edifying. Short lesson, stating that Russia says that it would not adhere to the treaty again. All right, the treaty that they signed in 1987 with Babylon the Great. All right, they're not adhering to that treaty pertaining to nuclear weapons. All right, as just stated by the lady or the news reporter, Russia is not going to adhere to it anymore, and Babylon the Great hypocrite. All right, they pull out of that from 2019. So why they have a problem with Russia pulling out of that peace treaty? You understand? But it is what it is. It just goes to show that the weapons of the Most High Power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai's judgment, all right, will be unleashed, all right, in the day of the Lord. All right, and this is prophecy that has to come to fruition. You know, we have the mandatory implementation of the Karagma, the mark of the beast, the RFID microchip, and then World War III is going to pop off. Then the return of Lord Yahweh Shai and Mashiach. So we living in some beautiful times now. All right, we living in some beautiful times. You understand? But I want to get a couple of precepts. Ain't make this too long. Just to try and drive my point home. This is the book of Joel, chapter 2 and 7. It reads, "They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war." What they talking about? These same nuclear missiles, what Russia say. All right. They're not adhering to that peace treaty anymore. All right. They shall run like mighty men of war, and they shall march every one on his way, and they shall not break their rank. All right. So no missile defense system is going to be able to stop them. And see, that's what Babylon parry of. Even though Babylon themselves pulled out of the treaty in 2019, they have a problem with Russia saying that all systems go, all the gloves are off now. For his sake, neither shall one thrust in one another. They shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. Precision, all right? Precision strikes is what Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is going to hit, all right? Babylon the Great with, all right? We have one or two more precepts. Malachi 4:1. "For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be as stubble." 2/3 and the heathen, especially them damn Edomites. All right. "And the day that cometh shall burn them up, said Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch." All right. Completely and total utter annihilation through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. The Most High says these have to be unleashed. The Most High put that spirit of war, all right, in these kings' heart. All right, and right now they only doing, all right, what the Most High telling them to do. All right, through the spirit. All right. Revelation 9:16. It reads, "And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them." This is what John the Revelator saw. 200 million missiles. All right. And we know Russia ain't get 200 million. All right. But it's going to be a combination of Russia, China, North Korea, Babylons, and her allies. All right. It's going to be a combination of everyone's missiles, because we know what these countries declare ain't what they have. All right, no one's going to tell you no one's going to show you their hand before the fight. You understand? But we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Shai, thermal nuclear missiles will destroy Babylon the Great and Israel, all right, and other parts of the world. But we don't know. I mean, we don't know that through the spirit. You know what I mean? But them two, they have to be cleansed. All right, this is why we need Yahweh Shai, because of their wickedness. You understand? And the laser beam technology from the chariots of the Lord, all right, are going to be hitting them also. All right, so this is why it's going to be basically called the lake of fire. All right, scripture also called it the land of one wall villages. So basically a flat surface that's going to be laid out through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, a lake of fire, like the scripture said. All right, it's Isaiah 54:16. Them nukes coming. The Most High say this is why He made them. All right, it says Isaiah 54:16. Behold, I have created the smith, that bloweth the coals in the fire, and bringeth forth an instrument for his work. Now we know a smith is a master at what he do, but the smiths they're speaking about is basically those Nobel Peace Prize scientists, them lead scientists, majority who are from Teman, but we have other great scientists from India, China, Russia, all over the place. All right, but they mainly started with them men from Teman. All right, basically was taken as prisoners of war. All right. You take it again. Isaiah 54:16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. I have created the waster to destroy. The waster being those groups. All right. Where Babylon already walk away from the treaty. All right. Russia walk away from the treaty. North Korea never had no treaty. All right. And the allies of who Russia give nuclear arms to, you know, they ain't adhering to no treaty. All right. So World War III is imminent. All right. Say the second was passed and the third will come in quickly. Roughly paraphrasing. You almost here. These are beautiful times we live in here. Like the apostle is saying, all right. The missiles can't come soon enough. You know what I mean? Because we need the return of Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach to rule in righteousness. Sick of being your man, worrying about bills, getting tired, getting sick, death. Alright? All kind of damn folly going on around you. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. We need the new kingdom. Alright? We can live in righteousness. Alright? But just a little short lesson. Alright, Lord's willing, the lesson was edifying and serve His purpose, which is help build the spiritual tabernacle of King David. Alright. I'd like to give all thanks, glory, honor, and praise to the supreme power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Makakadash. Alright, a double honor to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone. Peace and salutation to the hope for the elect. This is the brother Kazuan closing out until we meet again. Shalom, Abad, Babal, and Ban-Yasharahla.